It's Vincent Keymer versus Magnus Oldtimer. What a game this is. From the Tata steel, India rapid, Magnus with white. He's kicking off here with pawn to d4, and I absolutely love this endgame. Absolute battle from both players. So we get e6 on the board, knight f3, d5 for the high five. Magnus plays knight to c3 and after pawn to c6, we get the old party hat pawn formation on the board. We absolutely love it. Rock solid.
Mushrooms.
And Magnus developing with a whoosh, inviting Vincent to dance. Because if you want to take on c4 here, you could get the absolutely razor sharp Botvinnik variation. We love these fireworks, but not played. Vincent backs down with knight b to d7, e3 from Magnus, and this queen comes gushing out. It's the Cambridge Springs variation, much more solid. So takes on d5 played. Vincent takes with the pony, huge pressure on c3, and so Magnus covers with the rook. Yes, you can take and then win this pawn on a2, but you lose a lot of time. The white bishop streaming out, center under control, it's dangerous. So instead we see takes, pawn recaptures, and bishop a3, sniping at that rook, which moves to c2. If you were a chess hustler, you'd love to stick a bishop on a4, right? But not allowed. So instead we get the advance of the c-pawn. Vincent's got other ideas for how to bring this into the game. So Magnus brings up the bishop here. Now we get takes in the center, and Magnus recaptures using the pawn. How many of you have ever done this online? Actually, he takes with this one. We've got a bit of a pin going on, and now b6. Is he preparing to fianchetto the rook? We'll watch this, because you think I'm joking, but after bishop e4, look at this, it's on the way. Finally, a super GM about to give us what we've been dreaming of. Bishop f4, hang on, has Vincent completely blundered like a very naughty boy? Is he really a general manager? Well, here's the trick. He plays bishop to b7, and now if you win this rook here, whoops, wrong piece, I have just come back from Amsterdam, bit tired, then this is the trick. You take on e4, hit the rook on c2, and you've got too many problems, because if you try and save that one, well then this one drops and black gets two minor pieces for the rook. Not ideal. So this is the trick. This is why Magnus just develops the queen, covers the bishop in the center, and now Vincent could take, but he slides over to the a6 square. All of these pieces lined up, very strange opening, but he's making it work, hitting that queen. Magnus blocks, and these ones get exchanged off the board finally. Little dance done there, on the board, not in person of course. They're over the board, live in India. The rook hits this half open file. Both players now castle, quick king safety fist bump. Exploded out, trying to get my voice, and now talking of explosions, c4 from Magnus, taking the center, and these are known as the hanging pawns, because you've got nothing supporting the base. They take away squares from the enemy pieces, great, but they can become weak. Okay, we crack on, the bishop drops back here, getting out of dodge, could have been a bit loose there, you know, this queen's babysitting it, and it keeps attack on an eye on Magnus's attacking moves, and this is what we see from him now, thrusting that rook pawn. Classic modern chess, using those side pawns. Now we get rook fd8, very natural. This is always an uncomfortable gaze, and Magnus brings this rook over to b1. We see what's on the way, so does Vincent, so he slides over with an almighty whoosh, almost a skadoosh, and now we get this rook b5. Magnus whispering away, do you even rook lift, bro? Queen under fire, drops, and now this is very unusual. You know, some of Magnus's fans already bleating, expecting the queens to leave the board. Does he do it? No, he doesn't. He could have. It would have been a good move, but he decides to go for a different game. h6 now played, and a4. More expansive chess, looking to undermine the structure. But first queen g4, tickles the bishop, defended, a6, puts the question, rook dropping back, and now the game really explodes. You can go bishop f6, kind of solid, steady move, hit the center of the board, but instead, Vincent takes on h4, crazy variation, and it looks like you're just completely blundering a piece, because after knight takes, yes, the queens can leave the board, but then you're simply a piece down, but aha, g5 for the score here. You win back that piece. White can go d5. It's a different game, apparently roughly level, but we didn't get that variation. Magnus instead plays on the complete opposite side of the board here, using it as his canvas. Now we get takes, and he pushes forward with the c pawn here. This is what he's after now. The past one running, get that juicer juicing, and now after bishop g5 you can take, but again Magnus goes into the fish tank, the old stock fish tank of a brain that he's got. It's swelling, and he plays this pawn to c6 move, or pawn to c ships as we like to call it. Uses 6 minutes there, a lot of time. You can go knight f6, different game, but instead Vincent takes here, top move of stock cockle, and after now takes on d7 from Magnus, hitting the rook. We see an exchange on c2, rook recaptures, and surely you save the piece, right? Looks so natural. Bishop g5 for example, help cover this square in case of rook c8, and yes, it's playable, but white is in the driver's seat, because after queen d3 you now can't take the pawn because you run into knight e5. You go to fork Vegas, and because you can't do that, it's uncomfortable. If f6 will never play it right, but you also cut the connection, then rook c8 can come. There's these kind of uncomfortable problems. So that's why we see the move of bishop takes on g3. Given the exclams though, because it is the top move here, because after captures, let's do a quick head count soon, the king runs away, rook takes, and look at that. King checked, king h7, you get this check here, and when you actually start counting up the pawns, Vincent's got 5 juicers for the pony. Should be more than enough compensation. Now you can go g6 here, top move, but it weakens the king. You know, knight e5 can come, possibly to g4, then into f6. Not easy to see what's going on. So instead we see the queen backpedal here. Magnus finally takes. His fans start bleating. You can't go king g6 or knight e5 check comes. No time to get out the forking way, and you lose a rook. So that's why this one takes. Very ugly structure, only a mother could love. But like I said, it's 5 of those little ugly ducklings for 1 minor piece, so there should be enough here. Magnus brings the king to cover the center, then activate his knight. The rook's pressuring here. We see g5, very natural. King e3 just in time in case of g4. Don't go g4, the knight hops, you fork those two. So rook d6 covers some bases. Now knight e5, a4, king e4, a5, rook c4. Magnus going after these pawns now. Yes, you've got a lot of them, but they are weak. So the rook slides behind. Magnus now takes here, and this next move, not precise, but the time is so low. It's very, very tricky and hard to assess. h5 is best though, start running these ones immediately. But king g8 played, given the question mark of shame, and now Magnus gets time to rotate this pony, king f7, and a seahorse is born. He's going after all these weak points. What to do? Rook b6 apparently at best, abandon the a pawn, go for some activity. But this one was played, allowing this king e5 move, and it's actually the e6 pawn which is just getting stomped on now. You know, if you go here, well again you lose the a pawn. These are the problems. So g4 was played, running the counterplay. Magnus now takes, walks into a pin, sure, but d5's on the way. So h5 is played, d5, what a race we've got. g3 now played, Magnus slides back with the rook, h4, they're marching like space invaders, but Magnus gets going as well. g2 is pushed. What if you go for this, you know, trying to win the knight, which is pinned? Well, then you can check. You kick away the king, d7, it's running through, and actually if you try and push these and get your own going, well, you can lift and there's checks and all sorts of things, so it's no good, doesn't work. So we come back here, that's why we see g2 immediately. Magnus now checks, not the most precise. Let's rewind. Rook c1 apparently best, then moving the knight. Okay, still a good move though. Now the king steps back. back, neither player finding the absolute best here. They're on very low time, and after rook g1, hitting the pawn, mistake if Vincent goes rook e8 check and then rook e2, but not easy to find, and the king starts running around, then it would be okay, apparently, but h3 is played, massive blunder, question marks of doom, because Magnus takes, now a4 comes, but rook takes, the pawn's being hoovered off. Sure, this one runs, but I love this. Magnus doesn't even come and blockade it. He plays king e6 here, sorry, check, king moves, then king e6, shutting the trap here, taking the opposition, all of these squares gobbled up. And the problem with doing this one, a2, is that now you push here. King goes this way, you invade, this kind of thing, right, and you come around behind. Horrible. So we see this move played to pin the d-pawn. Knight g5 on the board, and it's an absolutely incredible mating net, because once again, if you go for this, well, of course you can't push, but you can play this sneaky move, rook h2. What an absolutely brilliant shift of the rook, because if the queen is made here, you simply make that checkmate, the black king is boxed in, and it's an unavoidable one. Absolutely nothing you can do. Magnus takes down the youngster, and he took down the entire field, won the event. Incredible stuff from the GOAT. Hope you enjoyed, and smash subscribe if you never want to miss the Blitz games which are coming on the way. Have a look at the video on screen if you want more epic chess, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.